Hello and welcome to episode 126 of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chasson, and pulling up a mic this week, it's the other Spark on the pod. He's packed his Pokeball and he's ready for a trip to Kanto. It's Mr. Steve Carter.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? You alright?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Like I say, the Pokeballs are well and truly packed. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
You must be, we'll get to it in the news section in a minute, but, let's jump straight in. You must be excited about the Pokemon news, but like I say, we'll get to maybe that in the news section. Order! There's order to this podcast. God damn it. So how's your week been, Steve? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been quite quiet, actually. I've not been up to much over the bank holiday weekend.
Right.
Just enjoyed the sun while it lasted. Got a bit burnt.
Right.
I've got the arms are a bit glowing still. But yeah, apart from that, I've been quite quiet, really. I've not been playing much either, really.
Right.
That's what I've been playing. But yeah, I've been mostly still catching up with TV. I'm still in that slow transition between jobs at the moment, so I'm starting my new place of work next week.
Nice.
But yeah, just mainly catching up with Netflix and just some TV and some movies, really. But Orange is the New Black is still pretty much taking up my life. Pretty much every night that we get home, it's the first thing that we put on. Get tea, get Orange is the New Black on, and then we just binge on a night and then just sit and watch that a couple of episodes a night. So we're pretty much done on season 3.
Wow.
About to move on to season 4. I know that obviously you've got a phobia of the prison life, so I imagine you've not checked it out. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's still quite witty and still quite well written. So that's mainly it, really. It's
wow.
Quite quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny, actually, because we've been we're still catching up on Jessica Jones, like in the Netflix front. So kind of catching up on Jessica Jones, which is, I'm really enjoying this second season. It's really kind of, the first episode was kind of getting there, but by the third episode, it was really kind of in there. It got to that point where, it's probably similar to you guys, where you're like, I really want to watch another one. Can we squeeze another one in? That's what you're kind of like, it's only 10. We can get another one in if we do it now. It's that kind of conversations being had at the moment. But Jessica Jones is just absolutely superb. I'm really, really enjoying it, and hopefully it's going to continue. I think we've only got about 4 or 5 episodes left, but we're really into it.
Yeah.
And then I think the highlight for me this week was I went to see Solo. So I went to see the new Star Wars movie. So, the new spin-off, which is Solo, kind of chronicling the coolest dude in the galaxy. My hero growing up, Han Solo. Do you know what? It's really interesting because I'm not seeing a lot of hype, or I definitely wasn't kind of going in. I wasn't seeing a lot of hype or people excited about it. But it's a really good movie. It's really good. It's quite funny. It's always fell into, when I've been speaking to people, it's always fell into, yeah, I'll get round to watching it kind of camp. But it's really good. I just sat there on Saturday in my normal seat. Actually, funny story. Segue. Funny story. Sidebar, even. James is like, that's not even a segue. Sidebar was, I always have H 9 and 10 in the X Plus at Blue Water. Screen 15, H 9 and 10. There, that's my seat. And so I kind of dived into the cinema, and Nicola she had to go and powder her nose. So I said, I'll go in, because we were running, a bit late. The adverts were still on, and I like to be settled down before the trailers. So I said, I'll go in and see you there. Walked up to them, I was like, oh, that guy's in my seat. So I kind of breezed over to him, and I was like, "Excuse me, sir, you're in my seat." I said 9 and 10. That's my seat. With complete conviction. And this poor guy was like, he goes, "But my ticket, it says G9. It says G9." And I'm like, "Nope, G9 and 10, they're mine. That's mine." And then so I had to turn on my phone, because I always turn my phone off before I go in. And I booked H9 and 10, not G9 and 10. For some reason, I must have been so excited when I was booking these movies. So I just went, enjoy the movie, and off I
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And when I told Nicola, she was like, "Oh, thank God I wasn't here." She goes, "You're just so embarrassing. You're such an idiot." But that being said, making a fool of myself being said, the movie is very good. It's a very tight plot. I won't say anything, won't spoil anything. It's a very tight plot. There's not that many characters. It's a Star Wars movie. There are stormtroopers around. Not enough stormtroopers, but there's stormtroopers. But it's, considering this movie had maybe some problems and it switched director, etc., it's a really good movie. It is beautifully shot, and it is just incredible. And the guy who plays Han Solo, I really enjoyed it. But in the trailer, I was always like, "You're not Han Solo. I should be Han Solo. You're not Han Solo." But when you actually watch a movie of this guy being Han Solo, he is Han Solo. And it's just really cool. I just really enjoyed the entire movie. I just sat there and I was like, yeah, and it's quite funny because I went to see it on Saturday, I think, and I'm now kind of itching to go again. I want to go again. I want to go and watch it again. So I really enjoy it. Have you kind of got the urge to go and see it, or are you going to wait for it to come out at home?
I don't know really. I mean, I've seen bits about it because I've got the Empire magazine, which I think she had a picture of to the group. There was a really nice poster from the Falcon in there, so I have read about it, and I've the main reason that I'm kind of a bit concerned about going to watch it is, like you say, with it being sort of swapping directors and having a bit of trouble during the production. That's kind of made me a bit hesitant, because like Han Solo is one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic character of the Star Wars movies. And knowing a backstory about him, how he came to be, that sort of thing would be, I'm really interested in that, and it's difficult for me because Anna's not a massive sort of Star Wars, Marvel, DC fan, that sort of thing. So for me, a trip to the cinema, I have to kind of drag her there, begrudgingly, or try and convince her. We when we normally go, we go to the, I don't know if you've got them. I say down south, they're saying it's north and south divide, but if you've got the Everyman cinemas there, they sort of like serve pizza and wine and, beverages while you go to the cinema, and that's usually how I convince it to go. They serve wine. I'll buy you wine while you're there, but obviously that's a little bit more expensive than the average cinema ticket. So, but yeah, I'm hoping to go watch it, because it's Star Wars, I'll go watch anything Star Wars, Probably not many people agree with, but I really liked Rogue One.
Rogue One's awesome. Rogue One is amazing.
I loved that. I thought it was pretty much on par with Force Awakens in many ways. I loved that movie. And Last Jedi, I'm warming to it more than I first did when I first saw it. The more I watch it, the more I get it, and the more I understand it. But yeah, I'd really like to go see it. But in terms, obviously, without going into too much spoiler territory, does his origin story kind of fit in at any point with episode 1, 2, and 3, or is it just kind of separate? Is it way separate from that, and then it just kind of ties into episode 4?
Yeah, it kind of sits nicely kind of between 3 and 4. Because obviously he's a little bit younger, than you see him kind of the first time when you see him on Tatooine, but, in kind of A New Hope. But it kind of sits nicely between kind of 3 and 4, and there's, without, skirting around some spoilers that are really good because I haven't seen them online, but, it does fit in, it does kind of tie in nicely. I guess one of the main things that is kind of in the trailer is that you kind of, there's certain bits that are based on Kessel, which is always kind of a big thing for kind of Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. So there's that. So it really does kind of tie in quite nicely. And it's just, so it's good. It's really good. It's just, I just went along and it's so cool just to see kind of him meeting Chewbacca and all of that sort of, those kind of stories that you either kind of talked about in the playground when I was younger, or you kind of read maybe in books, or they were referenced to in certain books, and it's really cool. Like I say, it's got some great set pieces, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think if there was anyone who was a dud, it was just the chap who plays Lando Calrissian, Donald Glover. He was just fantastic as Lando. He really did kind of just have the same kind of swagger, the same kind of awesomeness that Lando does, and it was that Billy D. Williams has, and it was just, I really enjoyed it. It's just such a great movie, and it's definitely one that I would happily watch again and again, when it kind of comes home, when it comes to Blu-ray or whatever, because it's just really cool, and like I say, looks stunning, and the Millennium Falcon looked awesome, because it was the Millennium Falcon in its heyday, so it was just the most iconic ship and the most iconic characters just kind of in their heyday, and I just absolutely loved it. I just lapped it all up, like, give me more, there's kind of talk that the next, because what they do, don't they have kind of, you have these spin-off movies, and then you have an episode movie. So obviously we've got the spin-off movie this year. Next year we'll have episode 9, and then after that there is chat whether it will be an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, or it will be Boba Fett. I saw over the weekend, I saw Boba Fett being kind of banded around, and Boba Fett movie being bounded around by the guy who directed Logan as well. So, which would be quite cool, because a gritty Boba Fett movie would be awesome.
That'd kind of make a lot of sense and probably get a lot of people excited, because he's kind of an iconic figure, and he's quite a renowned figure across the scene, and he doesn't really have that much in the movie, does he really?
No.
He takes, obviously, Han Solo to Jabba. Spoiler. But that's it, really, isn't it? And then he gets eaten by the Sarlacc, and then that's pretty much it, really. I mean, Django has a bit, kind of a big to do in the sort of the prequels, doesn't he? But Boba Fett was kind of just, he was one of them sort of cult figures, wasn't he? Just nobody knew who he was when the movie was first announced, and it's like, who is he? What's he doing? And nobody really still knows a lot about him, do they, really?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see, because, like I say, they touched upon it a little bit with the sort of the prequels of Django, then obviously Boba kind of avenging his dad sort of thing, but the bit in between, again, 3 and 4 would be interesting, because, I mean, I'm guessing whether he has any input over Han in between, I don't know, but, it'd be interesting to see. But again, an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie would be the same. That'd be quite interesting. Again, see what happens between the events of 3 and 4, beyond just turning into a hermit. Does it do anything? Does it go anywhere? Sort of. I don't know if these things are written in books or novels or any of the graphic novels, because I don't follow those sort of things with the Star Wars series. But it'd be interesting to see from either character really what they do with them and what angle they take.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see them, blow away the prequels and make it so that Boba Fett isn't a clone of a stormtrooper. I'd like them to right that wrong. But then an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie could be like Castaway. And maybe he puts like googly eyes on his lightsaber or something and talks to his lightsaber.
He has a stormtrooper helmet.
That would be so cool. Yeah, he just talks like, instead of like, was it Wilson? Yeah. Was the basketball in Castaway? He just has a stormtrooper helmet that he puts a smiley face on it, and he calls him Heli or something. Helmet, and it's just talks to him all day. I would just happily just watch that movie for hours.
That'd be quite cool, actually. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been doing. The movie room, just an update on my movie room. The movie room is almost back. We've got carpets down, we've got cupboards, we've got things in cupboards. But I've got a Saturday of AV tech. Obviously, once I've posted this pod, I will have a Saturday of AV tech, just kind of putting all the tech back in, so I'm quite excited about that. I kind of Friday we just had loads of deliveries kind of coming to the house, and I was project managing the hell out of it, and it was so much fun. I was not at work, but I was at work, if you know what I mean. So it was just so much fun. So yeah, so we've still got a little bit more to go, but it's going good. I'll give an update next week. So Steve, the most important question: what have you been playing this week?
Like I said in the intro, I've not been playing much, but the two things that I have been playing this week are the favouring the online modes. So anyone that follows us on the various strands of Twitter, our personal Twitters or the podcast Twitter, will have probably seen that we jumped on Sea of Thieves last weekend.
Oh yes.
On Sunday evening, we decided with Spark would assemble and take to the high seas. So yeah, since then I haven't played it, but what I played when we did, I really enjoyed it, and I think I mentioned this in the pod before, that I would only play it when there's a group of people actually going to play it. It's not something that I'll play by myself. But yeah, it's really good, and I think we had about 2.5 hours on there, I think, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and no pun intended, but the time just sailed by, didn't it? It just like, before you knew it, it was just like, oh, it's 11 o'clock, and I had to go to London the next day, so I was like, I've got to get up. Yeah. I've got to go to bed now, guys. But it was really, it was great fun, wasn't it? It was really cool.
Because we'd on the islands, but then we were like, oh, should we go, a Skelly Fortress? Should we go do something else? And we'd see a shipwreck, and it's like, oh, have we got time for that? Have we got time for this? Can we go do this? And then, like you say, eventually we kind of had to wind it down a little bit because people, had work the next day. So, yeah, it was, but it was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It looks stunning. I think there was a couple of moments where we were just stood watching the sunset, off the bow of the ship, and albeit to James's disgust when we hadn't, when we gathered the sails in, and he ploughed into an island or a shipwreck, he just makes some.
There was nothing wrong with my parking.
Precision parking. We'd just be stood admiring the view, and then James would be like, yeah, can you bring the sails in? Then about a few seconds later, like, never mind, I'll do it then, shall I? It's like, oh, sorry.
I love it. I love it when we found our first shipwreck and we were like, right, where's the shipwreck? And James was like, we're sailing past it because we were on the other side just taking screenshots. I would love to know, right? I don't know if anyone at Rare knows, but I'd love to know. We'll have to ask James when he's on the pod. How many screen grabs have gone via Xbox Live? Like, how many times have people, double tap the home button and press Y? Because it's just such a glorious game, isn't it? I'd love to know that kind of stat, but it's just, yeah, it was so funny the amount of times I think I might have crashed our ship about twice.
We got wedged at the dock, didn't we?
We did kind of. Yeah, we got wedged at the dock. We ran aground, and honestly, the James's disgust at us was just it was comical. It was hilarious, but it was great fun. It was just really cool, wasn't it? It's just like it's moment to moment in that game that is just always really good fun. We did quite a few skeleton missions, and we did a fetch for like chickens and stuff, and kind of give you. There was me, yourself, there was Matt and James, and it was just really good fun. I do love kind of finding a shipwreck and just. Parking beautifully next to it, or in it,
between the halves of the ship. Yeah, but yeah, it's there's not that there's not much point to it, but it's it's a really sort of easygoing game. There's no obviously you've got your challenges and your quests and things to do, but you don't have to grind it out for things. You just play at your leisure, don't you? Then obviously things will come. In time, in terms of more objectives, more things to earn, more things to gather. But at the moment, you can just go out. Few hours, a few friends, just gather some loot, kill some skellies, and then just gather a new peg leg, a new hat, a new outfit, whatever you might want to do, and just meet people as well. There were a couple of moments where we were observing people on the horizon, saying, "Are they going to attack us? Are they not going to attack us?" And then somebody led us into a false sense of security, and then set off a gunpowder barrel in the hold. Yeah,
that was just such a douche move, wasn't it? We thought they were being really nice. We were like, bye. It's quite interesting. Yeah, we've got that. That's quite interesting because we've got a news item later on about some updates that are coming that way that might kind of help and solve that. But yeah, I couldn't believe that. We were waving to that guy as he was pulling off to the distance, and then kaboom, we've got bloody the whole of our ship was full of holes. And it was just, it really made me laugh. It was like underhanded, but it was funny at the same time.
We didn't take anybody out. We decided we'd be good citizen pirates, didn't we? So we did say that next time we do gather, we'll have to be the menace of the high seas, and do a skelly fortress as well. But yeah, it was really good fun.
Yes.
And the other the other online game that I've been playing, State of Decay 2, which out via Game Pass.
Awesome.
So I decided I'd jump on that because I didn't play the first one. So I know that has been available via Games Pass as well, but I thought I'd just jump straight to the second one. And again, I'm enjoying it. I've only played it a couple of times with one of my friends online, again because it is an online co-op game mainly. But yeah, the few hours that I've played with him, I've really enjoyed it. It's different. It's different. It offers something different to the zombie genre, which is quite tiresome to me anyway. There's quite a lot of zombie games out there, but it's more like sim management, people management, civilization management, and then obviously you've got the zombies, and sort of bumbling around trying to stop you as they do. But yeah, it's really nice, and it looks really nice as well. It's with the 4K and HDR upgrade it looks really, really nice. So yeah, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed it actually. Like I say, I didn't play the last one because I didn't think it had up my street. But what I've played so far, the few hours that I've actually dabbled with, they've been quite good. So is it something you've downloaded or played yet? Or
I downloaded it on the first day. When it came out, and I started playing it on the small TV. And I was like, I just want to play it on the bigger TV. So I just thought, I'm going to park this in the pile of when the movie room's back up and running, which is God of War at the moment, and that, because I just thought, as you say, I bet it looks really cool in like 4K HDR. Obviously, I was getting kind of that pseudo 4K when a Xbox One X drops down to 1080p. But I just was like, I want to enjoy this. I want to play this. So I want to just experience it on a bigger TV. So I've parked it for the moment, but it's just definitely something that I want to kind of jump into. So did you say you were playing online with a friend?
Yeah. So it's something I've not played single player, because it's one of them that you can play offline, online friends only, or online open, so people can just join your game. It's quite good actually in the co-op mode, because what I've certainly found is if you play in co-op, there's the two of you, and like I say, it's more sort of people management, sim management, inventory management. You have to build a civilization. So the game opens where you choose to be one of a pairing of people. You get to choose that, and obviously you have to find a new home base, really. A homestead, really. So you get a choice of where to go. There's the foothills. There's the valley. And I can't remember the other place, but you get to choose a different, so you can start in a different place of the map each time. Then you basically get a new building to start out with, and you take it from there. But when you're actually going out with somebody in co-op, there's only certain items or there's only certain chests that you can open, and there's only certain items and chests that your partner can open as well. So it's really quite, focused on the fact that you have to work together, spot things together, gather things together as well, because your inventory's finite as well. So depending on what backpack you've got, you can only carry a certain amount of items. So it's kind of juggling those items between you. If you've got a car, running back and chucking items in the boot and then going back. And like I say, between you saying, there's a chest over here that I can't open, get them, then you have to decide, do I want these food items? Do I want these medical items? Do I want this ammunition? Because that's the sort of thing, or a new melee weapon. So yeah, it's good. There's a variety of different zombies. There's and there's different ones come out at night time, daytime, that sort of thing. So there's different areas that are more challenging than others. But yeah, it's another one that I'll only play when I'm playing with somebody else. I think it's more enjoyable that way. But yeah, from what I've played, I've really enjoyed it.
That sounds so cool. So you are kind of like how many hours into it? Like, so in your game, have you already kind of put yourself down a base? Have you already kind of?
Yeah, so I've probably played about five or so hours, right. I think. I haven't played much of it, but so we've got a house, set a perimeter up, and then you can obviously, you've got the perimeter that you can sort of build things, and you can build like, a medical area, medical bay, a gym, extra beds, that sort of thing. It depends on what you do, that affects the people that are actually living in your base. And then again, you can recruit people to come and live there. You can run out of sort of like say resources, so you might run out of food, ammunition, that sort of thing. Or people might be happy that you've made beds, but you've put them outside cold. You might be out of medical resources, so you can't afford to cure somebody. And the unique little twist as well that you've got in there is that when you're playing as one character, they do fatigue over time.
Right.
So in order for them to be back up to full strength, you have to go and make them rest, which means you swap that person out for another person in your party or in your sort of homestead.
Right.
So it does pay to gather a variety of different people into, to your civilization, because then you might have one person who's, good. He might be a soldier, so he's got a load of weapons and ammunition. He's good at, shooting. He's good at. There might be somebody who's better at exploring and finding items, or somebody who's better at melee combat. So it does make you sort of change things up and sort of plan ahead to say, well, this might be a sparse populated area, so we might need more melee combat. There might be somewhere that's more open, a bit more, and then you might need a sniper or somebody who's good with assault rifles. So yeah, it does make you sort of focus on what you are going to do and how to play. It's not just a case of just running out and just hacking a load of zombies and going away, because if you are fatigued and you've got a full backpack, you will run really slow. There's a likelihood that you will get caught and you won't make it. And likewise, you need to gather fuel for cars because they run out of fuel. They get damaged. Again, this makes you have people who can repair vehicles, do maintenance, that sort of thing. So it is, there's a lot of different things going on, and make you play in a different, in a different way each time. So it'd be good to see what else what else is there as you progress across the map. And see what else happens. But again, another thing as well is if your character dies, they're gone. That's it. Yeah,
have any of your characters died yet?
No, not yet, thankfully. I think I've had 3 swaps because I've had 3 get fatigued. I've not ventured too far away yet. I'm kind of, baby steps. Let's scope the nearby area out. Then we'll push boundaries when we've, built up some more people, got some more resources, afford to sort of go a bit further afield. Last thing you want is to get caught out without any, any medical supplies or anything. So yeah, and that's where the vehicles come in, that you can, drive a distance and then come back and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really good. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, actually.
That sounds so cool. I really love the idea of the strategic element of it. I didn't know it was kind of that involved, but I really like that idea that you're kind of like, right, I've got this quest that I need to do, but as you say, it's a populated area, so I'm going to take this guy because he can swing a bat. I really like that idea. That's really cool. That's really cool. I can't wait to jump in.
Yeah, it'd be good to, I think I'm sure it's only, a co-op mode, but if, there's ever any times where, there's people doing it or something to play, it'd be good to jump on with, with different people who have gone to different areas and set the bases up in, the different areas that it allows you to do so, just to see what the difference is in the different areas. That'd be really cool.
That's so cool. So you could jump into my game and kind of help me kind of set up and show me the ropes type thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what my friend Adam did. He played it for quite a few hours, and then he jumped in and helped me, get up to speed, tell me how things work, show me how, show how things certain things work. So yeah, that's
I like that.
To have
that's
somebody
awesome.
who's played the game already, just albeit for a few hours, then at least you get that sort of jump start then to say, oh, this is what you need to do, go here, do this, and then beyond that, you just kind of just free roam. You just go where you want, really.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, so you can pay it forward. So you can do what Adam did to you, you can do to me. So you can kind of show me how to set up the ropes. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
There's no
like
ship speed to crash, although you might crash a car.
No.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Oh, God, that's a given. Like Nicola doesn't let me drive in Borderlands because I'm terrible. Actually, in Borderlands, I have a pink car. I have a pink car in Borderlands. In Borderlands 2, Nicola always made me have a pink car because I was just so bad at driving. So she'd like to see kind of like stick out in the distance. So she had her own car. It was just hilarious, which is really funny because I love driving games. But anyway, so anything else on your hit list this week? Was that it?
No, that's it. Just the two. Like I said, I've not been playing much this week, so yeah, they're the only two games that I've actually been playing.
Right.
Since we last podded, anyway.
Awesome. I mean, I've been playing a little bit of Forza Motorsport 7, so I know I said I was done with it a couple of weeks ago. I said I was done with it, but I keep going back. I can't, on a Sunday morning, I just sit there. Exactly. I'm just like, I kind of look around the dash and I'm like, I'll play a bit of Forza because I know I can just jump in for like a quick couple of races. So I'm still playing that. But the main games I've been playing this week, I've been playing Fractured Butthole. So South Park Fractured Butthole. I've been playing it. I've got it on the Switch. So I've boomeranged it and I have it on the Switch. And it's playing really well. I'm really impressed. I've only done it in handheld mode at the moment. But I'm really impressed at how well this game is performing because I thought it might be a little bit grainy, a little bit chuggy, kind of a little down-res, but it's playing really well. It looks very good on the little handheld. It just looks really cool. I'm really liking it so far. And hopefully what I'll do is I think last time I had it on the Xbox One, but then other stuff started coming out, so I sent it back to Boomerang. But I'm off to Manchester for a couple of days. So I've got lots of trips and stuff like that, so I'm going to be playing it on the train. If another game that I started playing yesterday and today doesn't kind of take my interest, but South Park Fractured Butthole, have you played that, Steve? Did you play it?
Yeah, I played it on the Xbox One. When it first came out, again I rented it from Boomerang. It kind of filled the gap between other things that were out there. But yeah, I didn't play the Stick of Truth. I didn't play that one, but I played the Fractured Butthole, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's South Park. There's not more to say really because it is riddled with South Park humour. I think one of the first gags on there, the start of the game, is when you sat on the toilet, trying to squeeze a poo out. So that kind of sets the benchmark really. And I think even though it's there to sort of bash and take the mick out of sort of the superhero sort of franchise out there, I think anyone that's got an interest in that will really enjoy it because it makes it quite enjoyable really to see what the sort of the powers that they can come up with and sort of different people and backstories that they come up with. So it's really cool. I really liked it. And I think it would suit the Switch in a way. The sort of, because it's kind of 2.5D sort of thing in terms of how it plays. Obviously that you've still got the 2D characters that South Park has, but you've got the sort of the depth of field that you can move around, and that's the sort of the difference in this one, that you've got the sort of the chessboard battles, haven't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to know that it runs, quite smoothly on the Switch, because that's a main concern for a lot of games that are, albeit not a big game, but it's probably sort of one of the more sort of string you'll have, in terms of the things that are going on in it. So it's quite good to see that it's running nice and smooth on there. Yeah,
absolutely. I thought I'd give it a punch. I was like I was in between games. I think I've now got Detroit and Owlboy waiting in my queue now at a Boomerang. So I just kind of got, so I thought I'd give it a go and just have a play this weekend. If it hooks me, I'll continue playing it, I'll finish it and then send it back. If it doesn't, I'll just send it back. And there's a couple of good games, really good games kind of sitting there. So I've been playing Fractured Butthole. The other games I've been playing are Sushi Striker. So there was a demo for Sushi Striker popped up on the Nintendo eShop. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, and oh my lord, is this a bonkers game? So basically, it's a very anime game. It's very anime, and it's so funny. I showed Nicola and she was like, why do they keep talking? Why? I just want to play the sushi bits, and there's a lot of kind of like nonsense dialogue, but when you get into the game of Sushi Striker, it's so much fun. It's the first kind of real Switch game that I've played where I've used touch controls. So basically what I'm doing is you've got a conveyor belt in front of you, kind of four levels of conveyor belt, and you've just got to match the plates. So you're matching the plates or matching the sushi, and then when you can like start building up combos, and when you get to like maybe 6 or 7, or you kind of run out, your plates go down to your serving area, and then you can then flick them at your opponent who's doing the same to you. So it's kind of it gets frantic, and it's really funny because the gameplay is like lots of talking, and then this frantic gameplay where you're just trying to match multiple and then fling the empty plates at your opponent, and then you have a couple of specials at the side. One that kind of turns all your plates green, and then you can just collect all of them up and have this real ultra combo. And it's just really good fun. I could, if there is a way of kind of skipping past the story, I could find myself just kind of losing a lot of hours to this because, I was playing it and then Nicola kind of played it and did so much better than me. So I was just like, right, I need to kind of, I see where you're going, and you can really start, chaining combos together and almost holding, a plate there, waiting for another matching plate and then continue going. And it was just, there's some real strategic thought to it. To start off with, you just think it's a frantic kind of match many, but then when you actually kind of get into it, you kind of realize the mechanics. It's actually really good, and I think it's coming out later this year. It could even be later in June, but it's coming out this year, and it's like I say, there's a demo up on the Nintendo eShop right now, and it is absolutely awesome. Try it out. I would highly recommend trying the demo. Even if you don't play demos, I'd still kind of recommend just kind of taking on the demo and just kind of giving it a run. And then the last game that I've been playing, which again was another demo up on the Nintendo eShop, but actually came out today, and that's PixelJunk Monsters 2. So PixelJunk Monsters, for those who kind of haven't played that series before, it's a tower defense game. So it's a tower defense game where you play this little tiki man, and you've got to protect your kind of villagers, and you have like waves upon waves of enemies, and it's in a gorgeous art style. It almost kind of feels like a kind of a rendered claymation kind of, and it just looks really cool. And one of the things I really like about PixelJunk Monsters is it's a top down, so you get a good view of your area and you can see where the monsters are coming in, so you can start putting traps and building towers. But then you can just tap one of your shoulder buttons and you go into a third-person mode. So you go into a third-person mode, which you can then kind of run around, and it's really cool because when like a big mid-level boss, like level 5 comes in, you can then just flip that and you can go into that mode and you can collect coins easier, but you can also see the kind of scale of the bads that are kind of coming your way. So, you go up to any tree and you can turn a tree into, at the moment, I think the first couple of levels you have kind of like a catapult, arrows and a cannon. And you just have to obviously kind of lay the path for these guys to kind of go down. And it's just really good fun. I'm really enjoying it. Like, so much so that I was just like, I need this game. Instantly pre-ordered. It was really cool because I had some Nintendo coins sitting there. I think this was about, in the UK, I think it was about £13. But I think I had like something like $4.50 sitting there in Nintendo coins. So I just kind of said, and it was like, so it was below a tenner for me. And I think it was about £11 for Nicola because I downloaded it for Nicola as well. And then, so it's just so cool. So when I go off to Manchester tomorrow, I've got either Fractured But Whole or PixelJunk Monsters, or maybe even a little bit of Sushi Striker to kind of keep me occupied on that train journey. I will not be doing any work. So did you ever play PixelJunk Monsters on the PlayStation? Because I think this is a franchise that's been out on the PlayStation.
No, I haven't, and I've just been, as you've been talking, I've just had a look at both of them on the eShop. I've had the Switch next to me before we started, so I'm actually downloading the demo now, and it's
awesome.
Just looking at it, I've not even seen it before. I've not even again, it's not a problem, but obviously it's with the sort of the Xbox and the PlayStation. These sort of games get missed by a lot of people, myself included, which is a part of the reason why I've got the Switch, because the more of these games that come to the Switch, the better. Because I think more people will play them on this platform for like yourself. for a train journey, a bus journey, just to fill a half an hour gap, just before they go out or something, just to have it on the Switch, just to pick it up, play it, just dock it, and then come back to it later on, that sort of thing. So the demo is downloaded as we speak, but yeah, it looks quite good, and the actual the level of detail in it as well, for a sort of a smaller sort of indie game as well. That it looks like it could look quite nice and shiny. To be fair, so like you say, it looks kind of that sort of a bit sort of animated claymation, doesn't it? So a little bit cartoony,
it really does.
Still got a high level of detail and animation in it. So yeah,
yes.
It's downloading as we speak.
Awesome. It's almost like a CGI, kind of like Pixar tried to do claymation. It's kind of like that kind of look to it. But no, it's really cool. No, that's good. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think, because like I say, I really enjoyed PixelJunk Monsters. So yes. So that's kind of what I've been playing. I think PixelJunk Monsters, Fractured Butthole, obviously Sea of Thieves with you guys, and Sushi Striker. So that's kind of what I've been playing. So should we jump into the news?
Let's do it.
But before we jump into this Pokemon-filled news, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast free on iTunes and YouTube. So in the news section this week, we have all kinds of news with not one, but 4 new Pokemon games have been announced. Bethesda have been teasing Fallout, and also we have those free games for June on both Xbox and PlayStation. But Steve, the first piece of Poke news is with you.
Oh yes. It's a good day to be a Pokemon fan, and indeed a Switch owner, beyond obviously the games that we've discussed already. But yeah, anyone who's anyone really, I think anyone who's seen the news, I've just been pretty much pinging on my phone all day on sort of my many sort of social media channels, is we've the rumours that we discussed not last week, the week before, about Pokemon on the Switch have come true. They are indeed Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee editions, and pretty much everything that we saw in the leak as was true. There's not anything in there that I can see that was actually wrong. So just to recap, anyone who missed the potential leak and indeed the podcast, which you really shouldn't have done a couple of weeks ago. How dare you? The latest, or the soonest games to be coming that are not out yet, should we say? Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are basically remakes of Pokemon Yellow from the Game Boy days. Albeit in a new sort of shiny Pokemon sort of package, remade up to sort of today's standards, but the principles are the same. So you go back to the Kanto region, the same region that the Pokemon Yellow was set in, and indeed Red and Blue. So you start back up in Pallet Town, and you pretty much replay that game, but in sort of new shiny graphics. And what is, for me, good news is you actually get to play with the original set of Pokemon as well. The first generation of monsters. It's the original 150.
Right.
They've said that there might be some of the variants in there, but the actual staples will be the original generation of Pokemon. Couple of little tweaks. So rather than sort of walking through tall grass and just through caves and dungeons to find Pokemon, they'll actually be roaming around. So you will actually have to go up and provoke fights with them as they are walking and roaming freely.
Right.
Depending on which version you buy, the Pikachu or the Eevee version, they will follow you around rather than sit in the Pokeball. And it links to your Pokemon Go account as well, which again we discussed last time we podded. So you can take your Switch with you. You can connect it to your Pokemon Go account on your phone, and then you can go and catch Pokemon on either platform and then transfer them between you as well. So you can go out and catch Pokemon on the go if you don't take your Switch with you while you go to work. Just go catch some Pokemon with your phone, transfer them to your Switch version, and job's a good one. And they link, and they marry quite well together. But the biggest thing is the Pokeball accessory. The biggest thing you can get. So rather than playing with the Joy-Con, there's going to be a little Pokeball accessory that you can play with, in terms of you can pretty much play the full game on it, from what I understand. But when you are delivering that final blow, going to catch the Pokemon, you can pretend to hurtle the Pokeball at the Pokemon and catch it through there. And it's got a little speaker in it as well, so it makes all the noises. It glows up as well. And then whilst you're out and about, if you choose to store a Pokemon in that Pokeball, it makes the noises of the monster that you've got in there as well. How good
no
is that?
way! I didn't see that bit.
So
That's so cool.
If you just take the Pokemon with you, you can make the noises of the monster. If you've got a Squirtle in there, for example, if you could get one, it'd make the Squirtle noise, or a Geodude, it'd make the Geodude noise. It's what
oh my god! Imagine sitting in a meeting and there's something in your pocket. There's like a Pokemon noise going. That'd be
what a time to be alive!
So cool.
What a time to be alive! So yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon news. That's the main one. That was the biggest thing. That's coming out in November this year. The other thing,
right? So that's November 16th, isn't it? That's coming out. So I just
don't know which version I'll get because I love both. I love both Pokemon there.
Yeah.
I always adored Pikachu as growing up and Eevee as growing up. It's like, and I think it'd be a bit excessive to buy both of them just for the sake of having one following you around.
You just need to buy both just so they can be in your games rooms, just so they can be on the shelf. But I love the fact that kind of, all of the things about this. I love the fact that there is the Pokemon Go integration because that just makes me happy. Because as we were saying last week, I don't want to, as I walk into work, I don't want to have my Switch out, and also for, even when Pokemon Go came out, when it was in its height, there were people getting their phones taken off them. They were like being robbed in the street because they were just blindly looking for a Pokemon. So having your Switch out is going to be even more kind of tempting to those kind of people. So having the ability to play on your phone and play with kind of Pokemon Go and then transferring it using it's like the near field communication, isn't it? You just hold it near and it just kind of transfers because there's no Bluetooth I thought you can't connect Bluetooth headphones to your Switch, so there must be that kind of near field. But the fact that you can do that is just fantastic. And like I say, it looks great. I've just been looking as you've been chatting. As you've been chatting and smiling. I've just been looking at the screenshots because it was really funny because no one knew that this was coming. And then I woke up this morning and then suddenly I just through very sleepy eyes, I was kind of woke up really early. So I just started looking at kind of Twitter and stuff like that, just catching up with what happened overnight. And then suddenly it's like Pokemon. I'm like, what's this? And I was like instantly kind of shared it with the WhatsApp group. I was like, have you seen this? It's Pokemon, and it was bizarre that it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, this is kind of the thing that we touched upon last time with the sort of the pre-E3 leaks, isn't it? People will either show their hands early or they'll wait until E3 just to confirm what's been discussed, which whether or not they planned on doing this anyway, we'll never know, but we know that Nintendo, do their own thing when it comes to E3 anyway, so they won't have had they'll have an E3 Direct, won't they? But they won't have a presence, in terms of like the big hitters out there. So this might have been coming anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, just to wake up, just said, oh yeah, Pokemon's coming out. It's like, what? Really? Yeah. So yeah, it's always nice to wake up to a surprise. Even though we knew some of the, the details as it happens, beforehand, it's still nice to wake up to suddenly say, yeah, it's coming out in November this year, and here's everything you need to know. And then that's it. Just mic drop.
This is exactly. It's just like there you go. Walk away. Here's a trailer. We'll stick a trailer. We'll stick the just in case you haven't seen it. Just in case you've been living under a Geodude. You see what I did there? Just in case you've been living under a Geodude, we'll stick the trailer. We'll stick the trailer in the show notes. So I will just put that. So what else did we have from our Pokey announcements?
So out now is also Pokemon Quest on the Switch, which we kind of had a quick chat about before we went to pod, and I've downloaded it before we started, albeit I've not had a chance to try it yet. But yeah, like a little sort of different Pokemon games out now. So the way I can only describe it from looking at it and reading about it is it looks like Pokemon, came across Minecraft and they just decided to kind of amalgamate and make a combination game. So I don't know much about it, to be honest. Like I say, I've not downloaded it beforehand. I haven't downloaded it before we pod and I had a chance to play it, but it looks sort of a little bit weird. It looks like sort of like a little bit of an exploration. Like I say, it's set in the sort of the Minecraft, the sort of the art style of Minecraft. So you've got the, you've got the sort of the blocky appearance. But yeah, it looks like you kind of get a limited amount of Pokemon that you've captured, but then you have to fight them out by tapping them. So they have like a power meter, in terms of like a power gauge. So the power or the attacks charge up, and then you have to tap them to attack, or they do it themselves, sort of thing. So it looks interesting. It's very different but interesting. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it actually plays, because one of the things that I noticed in sort of reading about it before we started was it does have the dreaded microtransaction in there. It's got the exploration packs that the dub does, which kind of give you a few extra items, a couple of little boosts over people who decide to download it, because it is free. It is free, and it is out on the Switch at the moment, but mobile versions are coming out as well. But yeah, it does give you a little boost in terms of, let's have a look here. There's 3 different packs, so there's a $4.99 pack, which I'm guessing will equate to £4.99, a $9.99 pack, and a $17.99 pack. So it does give you, like I say, a couple of little boosts in terms of the game. It gives you a couple of little DLCs as well. But yeah, it's weird. I mean, have you downloaded it, Antony, at all? Or
I have, yeah. I don't. When they said it was available now, which is always good. I love when things are available now, and it's free to. I think they used like free to start, didn't they? Which was similar to like Mario Run. And so I downloaded it. I haven't fired it up yet, but I've got it. It's downloaded, sitting on my Switch. But it looks weird. You're right. It really does look a little bit kind of Minecraft-y, doesn't it? It kind of, and the interesting thing is that it's available on the Switch now, but it's also coming to iOS and Android as well in late June. So this kind of feels kind of what this game kind of feels like. It feels like almost like a mobile game, but it's interesting that they've decided that they're going to test run it on the Switch before iOS and Android, and like not the other way around, so which is quite cool.
Yeah, and it's like you said, to get the rub of the green before the mobile market is quite good. But just reading about it, it's got a few different sorts. I mean, it looks like it's not something that's going to be maybe something that the main sort of Pokemon fans will enjoy. But yeah, it's in the description here. It says there are base camps that you can customize and build. You attract new Pokemon that you add to your team. You can take a set of 3 monsters to battle, which again, using the sort of the touch control when the meters, once they're filled, you can tap them to make them fight each other. But yeah, the Pokemon can go on their own as well. They can just wander. They can do their own thing. So for those who kind of want the Pokemon to be trained to do what they're told, it might not be for them, because they can't just wander off and do their own thing. So yeah, but it'll be interesting just to actually just give it a chance and just play it a little bit, see what it's actually like. This sort of this base building idea, and attracting different Pokemon. Whether that's the key to the game is that you have to go and collect resources, different things attract different monsters. In terms of different times of day, different areas, that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and how far you can actually get without, succumbing to playing or saying, what, I've played enough. You need to pay to get any further. That's it. It'll be interesting to see at what point that actually is. Is it a couple of hours? Is it, several, like 10, 15 hours, or is it pretty much immediately, here's your camp, or it'll take 5 hours for this to be built or something, then you can just I don't want to wait for that, so it'll be interesting to see what is actually there, what it's like. And if it's worth, filling the gap between now and Pokemon Let's Go.
Yes, exactly. It's a long time till November.
Indeed. Yeah.
Pokemon Let's Go, whatever one Steve chooses to buy. It's just like Pokemon Let's Go question mark. And then they also teased, I guess, one more announcement as well. Just one more thing.
Another one. Not much information on this, but just to reassure the mainstay RPG Pokemon fans out there, is that Pokemon Let's Go isn't in absence of a mainline Pokemon title. So next year we will see a traditional RPG Pokemon game come out in the similar sort of vein to X and Y and Sun and Moon. So this will, I think, Generation 8. Is it? I think it is now. But yeah, that'll be out next year. So I think that's probably the game that the Switch was launched with, in terms of that there'll be a big Pokemon game coming out for it. I think that will be the one. Because I think this, the Let's Go outing will be just to kind of get, hype building for, the inevitable big launch. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that is, in terms of, will that be out instead of a 3DS version? Will they drop the 3DS version now? Will it have any sort of links with it? Will things be transferable? It'll be really interesting to see what it is. Will it be the sort of the 2.5D world? Will it be a full 3D world? Will it be, will Pokemon finally go sort of full 3D? There's a lot of questions that will be answered inevitably. Probably not this year. Maybe sort of a Nintendo Direct at the start of next year, because I imagine it'll probably be a holiday release. Pokemon's kind of release at the end of the year, don't they? So I'd imagine it would be a sort of towards the end of the year, a holiday release. But yeah, there's more Pokemon goodness on its way. What more could you want? The time to get a Switch is now.
Exactly. Do you think this is going to help sell the Switch, like the Pokemon Go? So if we just think about Pokemon Go or Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, do you think they are going to be unit sellers? Do you think they're going to shift units?
If they are marketed in the right way, definitely. Because if you think how much sort of pull Pokemon has, even with kids today, you know, that at the height of Pokemon Go, there were kids playing it everywhere, weren't there? You know, even kids that, I mean, my nephew's 5 this year, and even he still goes back to Pokemon Go on my brother's phone. You know, he still wants to, you know, catch a few Pokemon.
Right.
So can you imagine him seeing that? And he loves my Switch anyway. You know, that when we went on holiday, it was like, you know, Uncle Steve, can I play Mario? You know, can I play Mario Odyssey? Can I play Mario Kart? You know, so if he can play Pokemon on a Switch, you know, he's got to eventually nag, and is eventually going to buy him one. You know, so you know, I imagine, you know, I'd buy it if I didn't have one now. If there was a Pokemon game for it and I hadn't got one, I would buy it just for that. You know, I bought it just for Zelda. You know, so if you know, I think they're both system sellers in their own right, really. You know, so I think it will shift units, especially if it launches at Christmas. You know, holiday season. If that's got a bundle in there with Pokemon, even maybe a Pokemon branded console. You know, maybe they've got sort of the Joy-Cons. If they've got the branding on there, I reckon that'll just shift, you know, just fly off the shelves, you know. So it'll be interesting to see if they do, if there's any sort of special edition consoles or what sort of bundles they do with it.
Yeah, exactly. They would be bonkers not to do kind of a special edition, but they kind of like, you know, even like a bumper pack maybe with like 2 Switches and 2 games and, you know, a family pack or something like that. Because I heard last week that they've already started selling in Japan only at the moment, but they're selling dockless Switches.
Yeah,
so it's just a Switch without the dock, so it brings the price down a little bit more, makes it a little bit more affordable. So that was quite interesting. But I'd be really interested, because I guess if they were going to announce anything else about this other Pokemon title that's coming next year, that would have been the time to do it, wouldn't it? When they were on stage with the Pokemon Company. So I doubt if we'll get anything at E3 in their treehouse, even if it's just a one more thing. I doubt if that one more thing is going to be Pokemon. It'll probably be something else, because if they had a one more thing for Pokemon, they would have done that last night, I'm guessing.
You'd think so, because like I say, you know, if it's coming out next year, it makes sense to let this one have its time. You know, Let's Go have its time. Let people build up about that, because if they launched it now, you know, people would be more excited about probably that one than this one. So, you know, I think if they let that one go, you know, get this out, get people on board, play it, and then, like I say, if this comes out in November, give them 3 or 4 months at it, start of next year, have a Nintendo Direct, and then just boom, this is the next Pokemon. This is, you know, Gen 8. This is what you've been waiting for, and then you've got people there till Christmas, then, haven't you? You know, you've got people hooked.
Yes, absolutely. It's really good. It's really nice to see that there's these top quality games that are coming out kind of on the Nintendo Switch that just keeps coming, you know, that you don't have to worry. Because I think as gamers, there's still that point where we had the highs of Mario Odyssey and Zelda and Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart. And then we're like, okay, well, what's coming next? You know, what have we got next? And so I think everyone did worry slightly just in case it kind of fell off. But I just don't see that happening now. I just see that kind of just the momentum will just continue.
Well, I mean, for me, it's the perfect console to have alongside either an Xbox One or a PS4. You know, to me, I wouldn't have just a Switch because, you know, there's not enough there to keep you there for, you know, for the main sort of thing. You know, the third-party games out there, the big franchise, obviously, they can't launch on the Switch because it just doesn't have the power. But even if you sort of just play the Lego games on there, you know, wait for a few indie titles to come out there, you know, a few re-releases, there's plenty to play on. You know, the Lego games are all coming out, on the Switch from what I understand now. You know, I don't know how they're on there, but I imagine they'd be perfectly, you know, serviceable on there, you know, and to me, I've hovered over buying Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 on the Switch, because I know it's you know, been around the £28 mark recently on the Switch, and I've been like, shouldn't I, you know, just to, because it's the Lego games again are great games to sort of play on the move, you know, just to sort of, you know, have there ready and waiting if you want to play it. So yeah, the more games that come out for it, the better. But I think it can go, you know, a few months without a big game, and then obviously, like I say, just 1 year have Mario, the next year have Pokemon, the next year have Zelda, you know, and just keep going like that, and just have one big game a year. And I think that will keep it going for, you know, a fair few years, until we see Switch version 2 or whatever the next sort of outing will be. But I can't see them changing the formula much, to be honest.
No, they found, again, Nintendo found that winning formula. I mean, I played Lego Marvel Superheroes. I played that on the Switch. I've got it on Xbox and I played on the Switch as well, and it runs lovely on the Switch. It really works. I mean, I'm used to kind of playing those handheld Lego games where they're just they're pared down. So the PlayStation, the Vita, the Lego games are always kind of like a pared down. They had a few that were like for like, but then they started to just kind of like pare them down a little bit. But when I played Lego Marvel Superheroes on the Switch and it was just fine. It worked lovely. It looked really good. I mean, the only problem is like kind of it's actually Xbox One X enhanced. So when you go from a Switch version to a One X enhanced version, it kind of looks a little bit better on the Xbox One, but it just looks fantastic on handheld mode. And like you say, it's really good to see all the Lego games. Lego Incredibles, which is the next one, that's day and date on the Switch. And also today, Telltale Games, they announced DC Supervillains. So DC Supervillains, which is kind of like set in the kind of Batman kind of universe. So they had where they've got the Joker and all of those kind of villains, the Joker and Lex Luthor and Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and all of that. So that looks really cool. That's kind of the next game that's coming out from Lego. We've got Incredibles first, coming out at the same time as the movie, and then we've got DC Supervillains, which is quite cool, which was one of the games that was on the list of leaked titles by Walmart. So, the Walmart prophecy continues, so it continues with that. And so, and also a bit later on in the news, they've kind of been at it again as well. So they're not content with doing that. They've done it yet again. So yeah, it's a really good.
You'd think they'd learn the lesson.
I know. They've just got trigger fingers. But no, I think it's a good time to own a Switch. And if you haven't, then, the November is definitely kind of time to jump in. There might be kind of, Black Friday sales and things like that you'll be able to pick kind of maybe a cheaper one up, but it's going to be pokey fever come this time November.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be everywhere. There's people going to throw Pokeballs everywhere. Watch this space.
And how many TVs are just going to be, it's going to be that Wiimote all over again. You remember when there was, pictures on social media with, Wiimotes embedded into the TV? It's going to be the same with...
You did tell me to wear the wrist strap.
Yeah. They started putting that on the loading screens, didn't they? On Wii games. That was make sure you have attached your wrist strap. And it's going to be the same with the Pokeball. People will just be throwing that. Imagine the very first thing that's going to be on Twitter is someone kind of went to catch a water Pokemon and they threw it into the water. It's just and his name was Steve.
Yeah. Damn you, Nintendo, for not making waterproof Pokeballs.
Just by five. Right, the next piece of news is with me, and it's the free games. It's the free games for June have been announced, and just as we were about to pod, I had a quick check on my emails just in case there's been an announcement, and there was. So we have the PlayStation Plus as well. But let's start with Xbox. And so this month on Xbox we have Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. So this is the last in the Chronicles trilogy. They've given all of the other ones away with kind of Games of Gold, and this is on Xbox One. So that's going to be available from the 1st of June to the 30th of June. We also have Smite, the Gold Bundle as well, and that's going to be available from the 16th of June to the 15th of July. Interestingly, if you haven't jumped into Smite before, this kind of the pack that they're giving away includes lots of mythical icons such as Thor, Loki, Cerebus, all kind of rage war in online battles. And then the cool thing that they're doing here is the Smite Gold Bundle that they're giving away with Games of Gold equates to over $100 worth of content, including extra gods, bonus items, skins, announcers, and all of that. So they're really kind of if you haven't jumped into Smite, from the 16th of June, it's going to be a good time to kind of jump in, because you're really going to get kind of a bumper pack of goodies to jump in with Games of Gold.
Yeah, so if you're getting that much value for money for something that's going to be free, quotation marks free, even just if you kind of take a snippet of your gold subscription as a cost for that, it's kind of, you're getting more than your money's worth out of that, aren't you, really? So
absolutely. And then over on 360, playable on Xbox One with backwards compatibility. We have Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Now, this is a game I've never played, but I kind of quite like the idea of it. There's a podcast I listen to where they talk about it all the time, and they, there's one guy on there who says it's better than Mario Kart. I don't believe that, but I want to give it a try.
That's a big claim. That's a big claim.
But this is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. It's going to be available from the 1st of June to the 15th of June on Xbox One and Xbox 360. And then the final game is Lego Indiana Jones 2 Adventure Continues, which is available on Xbox and Xbox One. So that's going to be available from the 16th of June to the 30th of June. So, obviously if you haven't jumped into Smite and you're interested, this is a bumper month, but it's an okay month. I think for me, the standout really is Sonic All-Star Racing.
Yeah, it's quite a variety, isn't it? There's a different in there. I mean, I've never played the Chronicle outings of Assassin's Creed. I've just kind of stuck to the main games. I've not played them, but if it's free, I'll give it a go. I'll download it. But
2.5D, puzzle solving, platforming, they're quite good to jump into. They're quite an easy play.
Yeah. Like I missed the other one. There's the China was in recently, wasn't it? In the recent sort of Games of Gold thing. So, but yeah, the main one for me is Lego Indie. Yes. I think I've got the first one from a Games of Gold offer that was on at some point. I think the first one was in there. So any Lego goodness that's free, I'm gonna be there straight away.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think I played the Sonic All-Stars Transformed. I think I played that on the Vita.
Right.
So that'll been quite some time ago. But from what I remember, it was good. I wouldn't put it quite as a bold statement out there to say it's better than Mario Kart.
I don't agree or condone his opinion, but it's just like, what? But interestingly, and I teased it earlier, was today Walmart have leaked a new game from the creators of Sonic Team All-Star Racing Transformed, whatever it's called, and this is a brand new game called Team Sonic Racing. So a trailer has now been leaked. So we now have Team Sonic Racing, which is coming to the Switch, Xbox One, and also PlayStation 4, and I think PC as well. So another one. It will support 12 players online, 4 players split screen, fully customizable, and so this is coming. So this has kind of been, so it was leaked by Walmart, but then Sega got out quite quick and was like, similar to Rage 2. It's like, thanks very much, Walmart, you spoiled our surprise, but here you go, here's a trailer. So they kind of jumped into a trailer. It looks quite cool. It looks good fun. This one looks kind of more up-resed than the previous one that's available in Games of Gold this month, but it looks really cool. So if that kind of hooks me, or if I like it, then there's another game that's going to be available. I'm just looking at this news item just to see if they have a date for it yet. I don't think they do. They just say this winter.
Winter, yeah. That speculative release window.
Yes.
But yeah, they have to find something for Sonic to do, don't
they? Really do. He
It's
failed as a platformer.
Yeah, it's sad to say, isn't it? That I think Sonic in most ways had his time. That Sonic was born as a 2D platformer, and I think that's what he was always destined to be. Across we've had the many different sort of 3D outings that he's had. As a child, I didn't mind the Sonic Heroes that was out on the GameCube, which in hindsight, if I played that again, it probably would be terrible. It would probably ruin my memories forever. But they have to find something for Sonic to do, because they can't retire him. Sega can't retire him because it's like their icon, isn't he? They can't just put him to bed. So if it's good, it's good, and like you say, if it is sort of a rival to, maybe not as good as, but a rival to sort of Mario Kart and offers something different. It'd be interesting to see what levels they do. In terms of what are they sort of like are they spin-offs of the old sort of levels from the 2D, so like the Green Hill Zone, that sort of thing. What era of Sonic are we going to go for? That'll be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I noticed in the one that's available this month with Games of Gold that you can play as Crazy Taxi, you can play as the lady from Space Channel 5. There's lots of kind of different characters. Obviously, that's the all-star side of it, and that looks really cool. So yeah, I'm quite excited about this. And so I'll give both of those a spin. And then over on PlayStation, like I say, just announced, we have this month, in the month of June, coming out the first Tuesday of June, we have XCOM 2. So XCOM 2 is coming out for the PlayStation 4, and we also have Trials Fusion as well. So Trials Fusion and XCOM 2 are the kind of two big games for June. But on the PlayStation 3, we've got Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Future Soldier, Zombie Driver HD Complete Edition, and then over on the Vita, we've got Squares and Atomic Ninjas. So there's, it's an okay lineup. They had a great one last month with Beyond Two Souls and Rayman Legends. I think for the big standout game really for this one, it is XCOM. That's a lot of game to give away. That's a great game. XCOM 2 is an absolutely fantastic game. So it's really good to see that that's coming. So for anyone who hasn't picked it up, it's a really good it's a really good game to just kind of jump into. So there's kind of it's a kind of a point and click, kind of a bit like Halo Wars, isn't it? It's that kind of, you control your squads and you send them off, a strategic game. And I just really like it. I really, really like the kind of RPG mechanics that you've got in XCOM 2. So that's kind of the free games for June. So not too bad, really. I guess if you've got a PlayStation Plus or an Xbox Gold subscription, there's some really good games to kind of keep you tied over until E3.
Yeah. It's obviously in comparison to the Xbox, it's just a shame that the PS3 ones you can't necessarily play on the PS4.
No.
With backwards compatibility, which whether Sony's ever going to correct that or still go with their their streaming service, who knows? But yeah, it'd be better to have it all in one package like the Xbox, wouldn't it? To have everything there in one box and on one system.
Absolutely, because some of the Vita games you can play, can't you? Some of the Vita games are playable on PlayStation 4. There's a lot of but they're kind of very kind of pared down indie titles. But it would be really nice to kind of fire up Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and play that backwards compatible. You've got to be thinking that not maybe the PlayStation 4, but 2020, as we were talking about previously, or 2021, that on the whiteboard of things that they have to put in the PlayStation 5, backwards compatibility has to be that. Even if it's just backwards compatible for PlayStation 4, it'd be better to keep going back and back, because they realise that there is an appetite for this. Just looking at what Xbox is doing, there is an appetite for it. So you've got to think that on that whiteboard, on that Randan chart that's in Sony right now, backwards compatibility is a kind of key post-it note, surely.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. No matter how sort of far down the line we get and how advanced technology gets, people will always want to go back, won't they? People will always want backwards compatibility or sort of remakes or remasters of old games. And with the Xbox, when they first came out and said, no, it's not going to be a thing, and then all of a sudden, yes, it is going to be, it must be easier than they make out it to be, because for it to be a case of, no, it's not going to happen, and without changing the console, without redesigning it in any way, they go back and say, actually, yeah, you can play the Xbox 360 games on the Xbox One. It must be possible on newer technology. But like I say, with Sony not doing it in this generation, whether or not PS5, as it probably will be inevitably called, plays PS4 games or before, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what they do, or if they're intent on saying the games are available through our streaming service, our downloadable service, and just keep going that way. It'll be interesting to see what their hand will be.
Yes, it'll be interesting. There's been a lot of rumours over the last couple of weeks of the kind of like the next PlayStation. I think it was fueled by Sony were basically saying that they're not kind of like shutting up the manufacturing, but they're almost winding down the manufacturing of like PlayStation 4s. It's almost like, we've saturated out the base, so we're not making as many, which obviously then started sparking conversation and debate that the next one is coming. But I don't think that with the PlayStation Pro, just, how long has the PlayStation Pro been out? Maybe a year, 18 months, it's not long.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, people, we want more God of War, we want more Horizon for that kind of bang for that buck. So I can't see them kind of even talking about another console. I think we need to just enjoy where we are right now. We're in that golden age of this generation, because, you look at every game you fire up, whether it's Sea of Thieves, whether it's God of War, it just looks stunning. Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsports, all those games just look jaw-droppingly stunning. And I think we just need to enjoy what we've got, and games are going to look better as they get you more and more used to the system. You know, if the trailer for Anthem last year was anything near gameplay, you know, it's going to blow our minds this year at E3. So there's so much stuff that's happening that, as much as I love new tech and as much as I love new shiny and kind of enjoying that, I quite like where we are right now. So I'd rather them just get the PlayStation 5, the next Xbox are inevitable, but let's just wait, you know, let's not kind of get people thinking, you know, let's let people enjoy it, because there probably is still some people that are sitting on the fence. You know, there's probably some people still sitting on the fence going, shall I buy an Xbox 4? A PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, or, you know, I'm just coming over from the 360. And for them, just let them kind of enjoy it and kind of give it another couple of years before we get it. I think we speculated on the pod last time that, you know, 2020 is coming, and any marketing's dream is that's a futuristic sounding date. You know, they're going to want to release a console in 2020. And I think that's when this time next year, you know, we'll be older, wiser, and maybe a little bit more good looking, Steve. But this is when we'll be coming into an E3 where they're talking about next generation. I think this is like whether it'll be a one last thing or something like that next year. But I'm hoping that maybe they just kind of try and either squeeze backwards compatibility into this year, somehow, some magical tomfoolery, or just kind of leave it to 5.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you know, that just enjoy what we've got. You know, inevitably they will wind down the bog standard version of the PS4 to prioritise the PS4 Pro, as I imagine Microsoft probably will do at some point with the original iteration of the One.
Yeah.
Focus on the S and then eventually focus on the X, you know, because that will be where things go. You know, as the X becomes more, you know, commonly owned as the PS4 Pro, developers will want to use that extra firepower, you know, that extra horsepower to make the game better, look better,
yes.
Play better, you know, and people want the best experience that they can. And for me, the X as it is, if that can play the likes of Forza, Far Cry, Call of Duty's, Battlefields, whatever, in 4K, fluid 4K, then what's the reason to have a new console in the next, you know, 2 or 3 years? Unless technology massively improves in that course of time, you know, we suddenly see graphics cards improve, you know, the demand, you know, dramatically increase for better graphics cards, better processors, better tech. Why change it? You know, why have a new console? Because you're just moving on to a new cycle for the sake of it. Because if Sony went next year for a PS5, Microsoft would rush to do something next year because they wouldn't want to be outdone by it, would they? You know, they wouldn't just rest on the laurels to say, well, we've got the X and it's already doing it. Because in some ways, even if it came out next year, a PS5 might have slightly better spec. It might offer something slightly more than the X does, because the X will have been out, you know, probably almost 2 years by then. You know, so, you know, there's no... If they did do it, I think it would be a detriment to just more than PlayStation owners. It would be a detriment to everyone, because then it'd, like the Xbox One, Microsoft rushed the Xbox One to match Sony, and look what it did to them. You know, only just now are they, you know, reaping the reward of actually taking the time to focus on what people want, develop it, test it, and then bring it out. Because for me now, the X is the place to game at the moment over the likes of Sony, you know, the PS4 Pro. It does more than the PS4 Pro. It gives you better performance than the PS4 Pro, albeit, like I say, it took Microsoft a few years to get to this point, but they're there now, and they'll want to enjoy it for as long as they can. Sony, probably not, but the same with the Pro. You like say, get more God of War out, get more Horizon Zero Dawn out, get more Detroit out, you know, get more of that out there, and Microsoft get more of theirs out. And let's just, you know, 2020 is the marketer's dream, isn't it? You know, for anything. Yeah. You know, the likes of anyone, you know, Apple, Samsung will be rubbing their hands for like 2020 things already, you know, for the latest phones, the tablets, the TVs, you know, the Macs, that sort of thing. So it's going to be a big year already. Whether we see new tech, who knows? But, you know, I'm sure something will happen in that year, but I can't see something coming out next year from either side of the fence.
Or even Nintendo. You know, I'm going into this E3 not wanting any new tech, not wanting, you know, last E3 we knew that the Xbox One X announcement was coming, and they started the show with that. We were all blown away by it, and it was just incredible, and that was fantastic. So you just know that they just can't, Microsoft couldn't go into another one and go, oh, we've got something else for you, and then tease the next generation. Even if it's just a bunch of devs talking, you still just kind of don't want that, you just want to just like stay where we are and just enjoy. I must admit, one of the things that, because obviously the movie room's kind of getting back there, I swapped out the Xbox One X that's attached to the TV in the living room for an Xbox One S over the weekend, and I noticed how slower. I don't know if I just need to maybe reformat my S or something, or it's just been sitting there for a year unused. But it seems like it's almost like a little bit slower than the Xbox One X. It's almost like feels like when you kind of like boot up Forza, you're just like, okay, I'm waiting a little bit too long, or jumping into a menu. And I was like, this is interesting, because we've just been playing on X, up in the new room for ages. It's just suddenly I'm like, I've got used to that speed. So I can definitely feel the potential of the X and the power of the X, is because it definitely kind of feels a little bit sluggish on the S. So still looks great because I'm getting HDR, which is fantastic. And I'm still looking at that picture going, oh my God, that looks amazing. But yeah, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to go downstairs now and start playing back on the X, because it just is that, as you say, it's the console to game on, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, and that's the thing, and even if you look sort of back at when the Xbox One first came out, and they banged on about all this power of the cloud and extra processor power, that sort of thing. Even if they used that, with the X, to say, well, we've got everything in the background from the cloud, the background horsepower to pump extra power into the games, then do that, use that rather than sort of bringing new hardware out. But like you say, when there is a noticeable difference between when I was gaming on the S before I went to the X, things are just there. They load up quicker, faster, load screens disappear much quicker. Some games take longer because they're processing in 4K, which you can live with because, it's going to take longer naturally. But even when things are loaded in 4K, like say Forza, Far Cry, it's not too long.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's pretty much instant, which for a console, for the money you pay for it in that size box, is incredible. Yeah. It is in comparison to, albeit lower spec, but PCs, and you could easily put that against a PC and it'd be on par with it quite easily.
It's stunning. So yeah, so that's kind of where we are. Like I say, we're only 2 weeks away, or kind of a week and change really away from, because it's not this Sunday, it's the following Sunday where we've got Microsoft and EA, I think, have got the Saturday swap, and Microsoft are 10 p.m, in the UK. But we'll talk more about that next week when we start getting hyped for E3. But I can't wait. I'm just like, I've booked out the TV, I've booked the movie room. I'm like, Nicola can come and sit down with me if she wants, but I'm just like, cannot wait for that E3 showcase. I'm really looking forward to it. So that's
gonna pull all nighter.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's the Monday. That's the Monday where you got Ubisoft and then, Sony at 2 a.m. So you got Bethesda are the kind of first one, are they? They're going to be at kind of 3 a.m. in the morning on like Monday. And yeah, what we'll do is I'll pull a schedule together and we can stick a schedule up on the pod notes for next week, so we just kind of so where they all are, and I know what times I need to set my alarms for as well. So Steve, next piece of news, sir, is with you.
Yeah, so sticking with the E3 theme, which we'll see more of this at E3, but Bethesda this week, and indeed today, teased Fallout 76.
Yes.
Which is going to be the next game in the Fallout series. Now, it's interesting because there's a lot of rumours flying around about this. There's nothing solid beyond we've got the trailer, which obviously is of Vault 76. Mm-hmm. It's been mentioned in previous games before as Vault 76, and if you delve a little deeper into the information, that vault triggers 20 years after the nuclear war stroke apocalypse, so It opens a lot sooner than the other ones that we used to.
Oh, okay.
So rather than opening 100 years or 200 years after the event, this will be pretty much straight after. So
wow.
No civilization, there's no established towns or cities. It is going to be you are the first ones out. And if you listen to the audio broadcast in the background, let me just get the actual word for word sort of quotation, but I think it's the fallout has settled, we must rebuild, something like that.
Right.
So the inclination there is that you are going to be pretty much the first ones out back into the back into the waste, or back into the world, which is now a wasteland. Again, the setting, it's the song that's in the background is "Take Me Home, Country Roads," which whether that is set
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
I'm just going through the song in my head. I was like, get West Virginia.
Yeah, so whether it's set there, in the mountains of there or not, again, is yet to be seen.
Oh my goodness!
The interesting thing is that if you go on the, I think it's Kotaku, on their website, like everyone does, we have sources close to the project. They are saying that it's going to be an online RPG.
Okay.
So the people who are familiar, again, quotation marks, familiar with the project, say that it is going to be an online title. So it's going to be something a little bit different, which, if you go by the traditional release calendar of Bethesda, it is normally Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. This kind of fills that gap between Elder Scrolls and Fallout, because obviously we've already had the last Fallout. So you'd expect an Elder Scrolls game. So maybe this is kind of gives them a little bit of extra sort of time to develop a new Elder Scrolls title. Maybe we'll see something about that next year. We don't know. But yeah, how this will be online will be very interesting to see, because I've always thought that Fallout might be good with some sort of online, functionality, some sort of online mode. And if you read again the information that we've got there, this kind of was born out of them developing a multiplayer mode for Fallout 4.
Right.
So this originally was going to be the multiplayer mode of Fallout 4, but it's developed and changed so many times that it couldn't possibly have been, released with Fallout 4. Or indeed linked with Fallout 4. Yeah. So whether or not that's true, that'll be interesting to see. But how they'll link an online mode, again, I'd be quite interested to see, because whether or not it's a bit sort of, Sea of Thievesy,
bit Destiny, a bit like kind of
Destiny, or maybe even sort of a bit No Man's Sky, where you've got your bunker or you've got your vault, and every time you start, you're plonked in a different sort of world or randomly generated place where there's just different civilizations around, or if it's just set, it'll be interesting to see what is it co-op, is it multiple co-op, is it survival, is it permadeath, anything like that. It'll be interesting to see, but it's definitely got to be different. Cause like I say, if you look into the lore, and Vault 76, does trigger 20 years after the nuclear war, it's gonna be a lot different to what we're used to, and how different and what will be different. It'll be very, very interesting to find out. Which again, we will be finding this out at E3 surely, in terms of what it's going to be, more of how it's going to play, and more importantly, when when it's actually going to come out as well.
So they basically kind of finished the trailer with we'll be filling out more information at E3 in a couple of weeks' time. So
yeah. Well, to start with, we just had the iconic screen capture of that that card on the TV.
Please stand by.
Yeah, which instantly that's Fallout.
Yes.
That's Fallout straight away. And I love the Fallout universe. I probably like Fallout slightly more than Elder Scrolls.
Right.
And I probably like Fallout 3 more than Fallout 4. And in some ways, I do wish that this was either a Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas remaster, remake, or even on the Switch, something like that. I was kind of hoping that would be in there somewhere. But yeah, that just to have that screenshot of that calling card, and then just a trailer drop today. Again, it's that pre-3 excitement, isn't it? Just all of a sudden, just a trailer drop to say, boom, here you go.
Yes.
Here's something to go off of. And then, like you say, we're less than 2 weeks away, just to see what this is, just to see what it is. I know James on our WhatsApp group, he said, if as an online thing, he said he'd kind of watch from the sidelines, because he said that obviously he liked Fallout 4, but not so much as the last game. So how well received it'll be, who knows? I think Bethesda know what they're doing when it comes to Fallout, but I think in some ways it'd be good to test the water with an online mode of Fallout, because does it work? Will it work? Will people want to play it? Because again, it's going to have some sort of functionality from the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, how's that extra horsepower used? Is it for a bigger or better online experience? Is it, it's going to be in 4K in some variety surely as well. We'll see.
Yes.
But it's one of the things that I'll be looking out for.
Yeah, absolutely.
At E3, just to see what it's going to be and how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I love these Bethesda conferences because they do just chuck a lot at you, don't they? They're like, in one conference, because this happened a couple of years ago. I think it was kind of right back when we first started doing the Lost Spark Pod, and where I think one of the kind of very first kind of podcasts we had, we were talking about, because they did something very similar where Bethesda put a, please hold, stand by sign that came up. And then they did a trailer, because I remember I was over in the US when the trailer dropped, and they had the trailer, and then it was E3, and then it was out that year, wasn't it? They kind of had that model. It was like, here's a teaser trailer, here's more at E3, and then it was out September, October, something like that, and then it was out. So maybe they're following suit again. Maybe like that really works, and people really like the fact that we announced something, and then almost a couple of months later it was out. So I'll be very interested to see this. And the other thing that really interested me is when they kind of put up that standby kind of teaser for a couple of days, I wonder if they were looking at kind of like social media to see the things that were trending, because trending was, Fallout New Vegas remake. It's almost like they could do something like that and see what the excitement level are and go, look, I told you, look, there's 17,000 people tweeting about New Vegas. I told you we should do a remake, and then I wonder if they kind of look at that kind of metrics and just go, there is some appetite for these remasters, for these remakes, and you never know, that might kind of just fuel future E3 announcements.
Yeah, it's a bit of free market, isn't it? Like you say, to gauge opinion, because for me, my instant, I think one of my first reactions when you shared the video on the WhatsApp group was a remake or a remaster of Fallout 3 or New Vegas, or even a version on the Switch, which, that I'd be happy with that, because like I said, I would have expected that it would be that we'd see, a smaller sort of bit of Fallout news whilst we were preparing for a bigger a bigger Elder Scrolls bit of news, because that, like I said, that's the traditional thing that Bethesda have done over the last few years. So I was kind of like with the Pokemon, the holding news will be, here's Fallout 3 in remade, or Fallout New Vegas remade, or both in a package, for the X, or for the Switch or whatever.
Yeah.
Then at E3, by the way, just a snippet of Elder Scrolls, coming 2019, and then something later on this year, a video later on in the year, or something further on down the line to say whatever version of Elder Scrolls is coming out next, this is what it's going to be, and then just get that ball rolling and that hype for the next big Bethesda game, which, whether this is what the one, whether this is the class as one of their big titles or not, again, we'll soon find out. But yeah, somewhere someone must be looking at, like you said, them reactions saying, we need to do this, we have to re-release 3 New Vegas, bring it to the Switch, whatever the reactions are, because again, one of the starters of these few news articles that I've seen, from like the GameSpot, IGN, that sort of thing, is no, it's not a Vegas remake or a 3 remake, it's a different game entirely. So people must be wanting it or thinking about it, and like you say, to see the quantity of people who actually have tweeted about it, hashtagged it, whatever, that will be really interesting to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder if they just look at that and go, yeah, we need to do this, or whether they're just like, yeah, we've got them. It's really interesting. Yeah, really interesting. When you put a tease up like that and you just leave it open to interpretation, it must be great just to kind of see the feedback, to see kind of, have a graph somewhere that these are people wanting a new game, these are people wanting Switch ports, these are people wanting a New Vegas remake, because I think it's like 10 years since New Vegas came out or something like that, so there was an anniversary, and at one point the image that they had tweeted had a balloon by it, so they're like, it's an anniversary, it's going to be Vegas. There was a lot of talk about Vegas, so quite interesting, very interesting indeed.
Yeah, well, the balloon might tie in with the the theme for the game, because I can't remember what it is now the actual banner in there, but in the vault, it's during a celebration, isn't it? I can't remember what it said on the banner. There was
lots of blue balloons around, wasn't there?
Yeah. I think it might have been the celebration of being released from the vault and being the first people out, to start rebuilding. I can't remember the wording on it now. currently find it, but yeah, the wording I think on that banner is very important in terms of what the game will actually be, in terms of what you'll be doing.
Yes.
And I think that balloon tied in with there because, like I said, there's confetti everywhere, there's banners everywhere, there's balloons everywhere in the vault. So
yeah. In
terms of what those celebrations were about.
Yeah, it definitely went south after that celebration because it didn't even tidy up. So it went south very quickly. Maybe it was just like, we're opening the vault today, and then they opened it, and this ginormous gust of toxic wind just melted them all. The end. Very quick game. Sure. This game is Fallout 76
big shiny red button. Do not press the button. Do not press the button. Touch the button.
I was just like, I've got to touch it. It lasts 76 seconds, and there's permadeath. So that was Fallout 76. Like I say, we're going to learn more about that in a couple of weeks' time at E3. And then the last piece of news is Sea of Thieves related. So I think we should now start having at the end of every pod, we just wrap up with a Sea of Thieves update because we got another big update coming out. It's out now, actually, at time of podding, and that is the Hungering Deep. Now, this is the first piece of kind of almost story-driven AI or story-driven content that's being released for Sea of Thieves, and this is going to introduce an AI threat, which is the MEGALODON, which, if you haven't already seen it, there's been lots of kind of imagery around it, which is basically a ginormous shark as let 3 in the world in the seas of Sea of Thieves. Now, this is a timed event, and it's only going to be lasting for 2 weeks, so which means James, get back from Canada because we need to play Hungering Deep. So this is the Hungering Deep, and like I say, it's a 2-week exclusive. But then what's going to happen is this is going to then start leading into weekly updates. So this is a 2-week thing. The Hungering Deep started the 29th of May. We're podding on the 30th, so it started yesterday. You've still got a couple of weeks if you listen to this when it comes out. But then after that, we're then going to get into the weekly updates. You know, so this is a great excuse for kind of jumping in Sea of Thieves once a week. You know, I think we were talking about that last time. The first one, there's a really great developer update, and I'll stick a link in the show notes for it. And the very awesome Joe Neat, who's the executive producer of Sea of Thieves. I might have got that wrong. Apologies. But he's the executive producer, and he basically just details what's coming out in this update. So like I said, we've got Hungering Deep, 2 weeks, and then they start getting into the weekly updates. And the first one's going to be skeleton thrones. So there's going to be skeleton thrones around, and then you can go and sit on the thrones, and I guess you have to beat skellies first. You can sit on the thrones, take pictures on the thrones, and just kind of enjoy.
Get a selfie.
Exactly, a selfie on the throne. All of us, all 4 of us on the throne. But not only that, so they're in this update, the Joe details, and like I say, I'll stick a link in the show notes. We're now getting tattoos and scars as cosmetics, so you can like personalize your pirate even more. So we're getting tattoos and scars. We're getting different colour sails as well for your ship. So there's really expensive sails in all of the shops, but now you can customize your ship by kind of choosing a different coloured sail, etc. We've got that. And then the 2 things that I absolutely love, and it's the reason why I stuck it in there, not only because it's a ginormous shark, and who wouldn't want to talk about a ginormous shark, but they've now introduced a drum into Sea of Thieves. So they've got a drum now, which is just awesome. So this is going to make our sea shanties, as we're crashing into rocks, just sound even more so. So we've got a drum and also a speaking trumpet. Now, this is just fantastic because this allows you to relay to an oncoming ship that you're friendly, or that you can't sing, or that you're going to kill them, you know, so you can speak through the speaking trumpet, and it basically just projects your voice so people can hear it. So you're like, we're friendly, we're not going to kill you, you know, Manny's not going to explode bombs on you, you know, we could do stuff like that. So which I think is great, because there's always that worry that when you're waving, as we experience, that we're waving, someone's waving back, you think, oh, this is all friendly, I feel nice and warm and cuddly, and someone's actually just letting a barrel off underneath your ship. So at least this way, you know, you've got kind of more kind of like, look, we're not going to do anything, we're just out for a laugh, or we can just start singing, we're going to ram you, as we ram them. So there's some really cool stuff that's been added to this. Like I say, I really like the cosmetics. They're adding timed exclusive gear as well. So this is fantastic. So during the Hungering Deep, during these couple of weeks, you can buy some gear that's also going to be timed exclusive. And I just think all of these are just great reasons to jump back in, aren't they?
Yeah, and this is the thing with I know Sea of Thieves got a bit of a negative press when it first came out. To say there's not a lot to do in there, which you know what I get, but the intention with this was always going to be a slow burner. You know, it was like a pirate themed Destiny in a way. You know, and there was always going to be extras of coming out. You know, release a standard game, get it out there, test it, develop it, get the bugs out, iron the creases out, then drop big sharks in, drop speaking trumpets in, you know, drop these sort of things in there, and you know, if this is coming out and it's going to be free, you know, and the game again, as earlier quotation marks, the game is free with Games Pass, you know, there's tons of value in there, you know, there's tons of stuff in there, and if it's going to be different if it's going to be every week that you play it, something new is going to be out there. There's a reason to go back every time, you know, and much like Destiny, if there's, like these skeleton thrones or the next thing that comes out, or the next, there's, shall we go do some skeleton thrones this week? Oh, I've heard this thing's new, like the Megalodon, let's go summon the Megalodon, that sort of thing. So, there's always going to be something there for you to go back and do. And like I said earlier, it's just a chilled out game. Even without this, you can just go back to, enjoy it with some friends, go meet some new people, go on purpose, or in your case, accidentally ram other people when you've forgot to hurl the sails back in. That's it's just a nice game to just go back into.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what else comes back, because I think they've said that this is probably the smallest of the updates that they're bringing out as well.
Yep.
So what else is coming? Who knows? Maybe different islands, different sort of places for you to sail. Who knows what's coming? But yeah, it's like you say, if you haven't got it already, and you want to dabble with it, get Games Pass, get it downloaded now, because with this extra content, just get on board with it. Just get on now whilst the stuff is coming out.
Absolutely. I can't wait to jump in and play the Hungering Deep, and it's just like, because I think kind of sailing the seas and then suddenly seeing that ginormous fin break the water, you're going to it's a pirate version of Jaws, but even more scarier. We're going to need a bigger boat. This is, if you imagine being in a sloop and coming across this, it must just be like absolutely terrifying.
Say your prayers
yeah,
now.
Exactly. It must be terrifying. Well, I just really want to jump in, because this just sounds, like I say, it just sounds great. So this is all kind of part of, I guess there might be an update with it, but this is all part of this kind of this season, this special content that's coming out, and then there's more coming after that. So I just, hats off to the guys. They kind of really do look like they're kind of having fun doing it, but they're adding a lot of content to Sea of Thieves as well.
Yeah, because it's still a bit of an unknown, isn't it, really? Because we've had very few pirate games over the years, and this sort of model is either going to be really successful or it's really not, isn't it? And I think Sea of Thieves has been quite successful, and probably more so than the guys actually expected it to be. Because if you look at the people that were streaming it on Mixer, Twitch, that sort of thing, and the downloads, I think it was, I think it sold quite a few units, and quite a lot of people were playing it. So they've got to kind of match that expectation as well, which that'll kind of, I think, breed their creativity as well.
Yeah.
In terms of, we need to do this, because I'm sure they'll be taking fan feedback, and much like what we were saying earlier with Bethesda, looking at what people are tweeting about, what are people talking about, what do people want, is this possible, can we do this, can we add that, and when it's, there's no sort of boundaries to play with, sort of set formula, which there isn't in this sort of genre, then they can pretty much do, within reason, do what they want, can't they? So it'll be interesting to see what's next in terms of the next sort of batch of packs that they bring out, and at the start of this year, it was, kind of the basic game, where it ends at the end of 2018. What they've brought out over the course of the year, what the end result is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I say, just jumping in weekly and go, right, okay, what have we got this week? Okay, we're going to go and chat to this guy. We're going to go and start another mission. I just love the idea of that. And also the power of kind of getting over level 20 of one of those factions. When you get over it, because you're like, I'm still a little ways off from a pirate legend, but suddenly when you get all of your kind of factions over 20, you're like, I like this. And then suddenly that kind of almost that addiction, or not addiction, but that kind of like drive to get you to a pirate legend suddenly kicks in and you want to kind of play it more, you know, and I'm just like, you know, I'm happy just to sail along James and get James to the pirate legend because I think he's quite high in all of his factions. So we just need to be that supporting crew and then he can be the pirate legend and, you know, he will lord about in his legend gear, no doubt. No, knowing Thomas, you know, it's just like, but
with his fancy jackets and hats.
Exactly. I'm still bare chested. So that's it. That's it from on this piratey note. We should have pirate corner. But so that's it. That's it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. Steve, thank you very much for pulling up a mic.
Thank you for having me again.
Awesome. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube and also the Gamers Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Steve, where can people catch up with you?
So I am Steve Carter91 on Xbox Live. I am Cartero on the PSN, and I am at Steve_Carter91 on Twitter.
Excellent stuff. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Well, that's about it. We'll talk to you next week when we'll all be all hyper and ready for E3. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye, Steve.